And welcome back to Concierge Q's coverage of the Sun Valley Wellness Festival 2013, brought to us by Barry Peterson and Barry Peterson Jewelers. I happen to be partial. This is my Idaho Sun. My next guest, I know we're not supposed to have favorites, but my next guest is one of my favorites here at the Sun Valley Wellness Festival, Nipun Mehta. Now, I asked someone to describe you yesterday, and he said, well, he's the perpetual volunteer. And someone else said of you, if there was to be, this is going to make you so embarrassed, but I'm doing it anyway. If there was going to be a Gandhi in our age in the future, it would be Nipun. Because you are all about service. You're all about service. That's what you do. That's what you've created. I want to know if your parents were instrumental in teaching you to be of service, or is it just you?
Well, no. I mean, I think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, you know. But let's just, first things first, though. Gandhi was just another level, you know. I aspire to be like him. I think he's an incredible inspiration in my life. Yeah, I'm very grateful for my parents. They gave me, it wasn't that they directed me in a specific way, but they gave me space, you know, and they said, here are your boundaries, but within the space you find your answers, because then you'll stick to those answers, you know. And I found, you know, I tried greed, it didn't work for me, you know, it didn't satisfy me. And so I said, well, what do you do with the opposite? Can you do generosity? And I gave, and the more I gave in small ways, you know, and I still give in small ways, but it's not so much the outside impact, but what happens inside you. And it just, you know, everything starts clicking, and you say, wow, that feels great, and I want to do it again. I want to be connected. I want to be a human being that is in a dynamic relationship with all life, you know. And so I just kept doing it. And my parents, you know, at some point they were getting a little worried. They're like, yeah, you know, I mean, it's nice to do it, you know, maybe 10, 15 hours a week. But then when you start talking about doing it, you know, your whole life, they were like, okay, what's going on, you know? And
but it started out probably as kind of an experiment, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I would say it's still an experiment.
Yeah.
You know? An experiment is something that where you don't know the conclusion, where you go into it with an open mind. And so I try to approach every situation with that open mind. And I think so I always see any small act, you just never know how deep that connection is going to be. You know, you help a random person across the street, and you're just, you know, it could be one of the most meaningful experiences of your life. You just don't know.
Well, I was looking at your list of projects that you've started, among them Daily Good, KarmaTube. KarmaTube is sort of like YouTube for the soul, from what I can see. Yeah, help others, and Karma Kitchen. Tell us a little bit about Karma Kitchen, because I love that concept.
Yeah, so we actually run an organization called ServiceSpace, which is a meta organization that incubates a lot of these generosity-driven projects. One of those projects is Karma Kitchen. Now, Karma Kitchen is, again, it puts the emphasis on people's hearts, you know. So it's a restaurant where you walk in and your check reads 0. And it reads 0 because someone before you paid for your meal, and you are trusted to pay forward for people after you. And most economists look at that and they say, no way. I mean, there's just no way you can trust people to be generous because, you know, as they say, we are always aiming to maximize self-interest. You know, that's the basis of all economics. And here we're saying, no, man, if you create a strong context and you count on generosity triggering an inner transformation, people's cup of gratitude will overflow, and they will want to be connected to the people after them, even if the person whom you're paying for will never be able to say thank you to you. But there's this empathy, there's this connection that you feel. And why isn't the whole world like that? You know, because we've somehow forgotten you know, that we can operate in this way. And so we started a little experiment. We just took over a restaurant one time. We said one time, we're just going to run it one time. We paid for it. It's like renting a restaurant. And we ran it. And we said, if people pay forward, great. And people did. And it's continued on and now spread to many cities around the world.
You have been awarded so many awards that it would use up the whole show to go into them, but among them the President's Award on Volunteer Service. But the award that you were given that I'm most impressed with was the Wavy Gravy. Honestly, the Wavy Gravy Humanitarian Award. What was it like for you to get that? That's huge.
Well, Wavy, I love Wavy. You know, he's a friend of mine. And I admire all that he stood for in life. I mean, he's gone out on the front lines and he stood up for his beliefs. You know? He became a clown because he realized that when you go to protest and the police, you know, when they're beating you up, but if you're in a clown outfit, nobody beats you up. So he became a clown, you know. But he became a clown for love, you know, and everything he did was for love. And so it was an incredible honor for me to receive that at the premiere of his movie, Saint Misbehavin'. So it was I'm really fond of Wavy and all the guys who started the Save a Foundation, very brilliant, and you know, who eradicated smallpox in the world. So there's just a lot of people who are moved by compassion, who are moved by love.
Exactly.
And those stories often don't make it out. So.
They don't. You know, you and I were chatting yesterday as I watched people just fall in love with you and your talk, and you're going back to talk today. But one of the things that I touched on and people talk about with me a lot is it's hard to be of service today. It's very difficult, or people tell me it's difficult to be of service because they go to St. Luke's Hospital, the hospice program is all filled up. They don't need any more volunteers at the animal shelter. They don't need any more volunteers at the homeless shelter. Talk to me a little bit for people watching this broadcast who want to emulate what you are doing, those small steps, because I think it's crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think sometimes we have these grandiose ideas of what service is, and that's what gets in the way. The world, there is so much need in the world, of all, you know, in all kinds of ways. So I don't think there's a shortage of needs, but it's that we're looking to, if we're looking to become a hero, if we're looking to do something big, if we're looking to feel a sense of accomplishment, then I think it becomes very difficult. But otherwise, it's right there in front of us, right? I can look at you with a sense of care and compassion and say, may you just be happy. And that's a form of service. You can hug me, and that's a form of service. You're smiling right now, and that's making me feel great. And there's this kind of connection that we feel. You can pay toll for the car behind you. You know, we started the smile card movement that I was telling you about, right?
I want to point this out. Let's see if our cameraman can catch this. Can you catch this?
So it's a smile card, and it says, you've just been tagged. Experiments in Anonymous Kindness is the name of the game, and you're it. So you pay toll for the car behind you, and you tell the toll booth person that, look, someone kind did something nice, and you get to pay it forward. You don't have to pay back. Do something kind for someone else and pay it forward. Keep the chain of goodness going. And our whole life can be a canvas for that kind of giving, you know. So it's an amazing possibility that we can tap into. So long as we're not stuck with this idea of bigness, you know, I think that's what gets in the way.
And what is that? Bigness is what's in it for me kind of an attitude? Is
yeah,
that
like
what it is?
We kind of want to, you know, we bring that sense of ego even into the acts of service that we do. And if we just take that out and we say, look, even if it's unrecognized.
That's interesting.
Even
we bring
if
that.
It's small, even if it's like just going to make someone's day. In some small way, and they may never even thank me, still, that's a beautiful thing.
And a part of it, I imagine, when you say we bring that ego into the act of service, is really removing entirely the idea of expectation, of credit, or thanks, or acknowledgement. That's true service, yes?
I definitely think so. Rachel Naomi Remen says it really well. You know, she says there are three kinds of giving. There's helping, fixing, and serving. And so helping is when you go in and you see the world as weak. Fixing is when you start seeing the world as broken. It is in service that you see the world as a co-creative possibility. Right? And then you say, you're not saying, maybe I have, and maybe I'm giving in this moment, but maybe I'm receiving. It doesn't matter. I was with a homeless woman one time, and she was just asking for some change, and I tell her that I'd be happy to treat you to a meal. And on the way, it's like a 3-minute walk, and on the way, we have this beautiful conversation on generosity. We walk in, and she gets an ice cream, And at the end of this ice cream, I pay for it. Instead of a meal, she decides to get an ice cream. She wanted ice cream. I was like, sure. And I pay for it like I had promised. And then she does something amazing. She says, I want to buy you something. Can I buy you something? This homeless woman who had nothing, and she probably didn't even know what she was thinking.
Yeah.
She opens, she puts her hands in her pockets, tries to get everything out. She only has a nickel. And she wants to treat me. And I didn't know how to respond to that, and so kind of spontaneously I responded, and I said, well, thank you. I would be happy to receive your nickel and your offering underneath that. But let's pay it forward. This cashier has been really kind to us. Can we just tip him? And we put the nickel, she looks at me and she's like, good idea. And she puts that nickel in the tip jar. Right? It didn't matter who was buying the ice cream, who was keeping the ice cream, who was giving the nickel, who was receiving the nickel. It wasn't about that. It was about the connection that we felt, me, this woman, and the cashier. And we kept that. I come alive just sharing that story, just thinking of that woman.
You do.
And that aliveness is with me. And that was a gift from her that she gave me. And that's a gift that I'm going to keep for the rest of eternity. So if we look at it in that way, every moment gives us that chance to come alive in this, with the spirit of generosity.
I'm clear on the generosity part of who you are.
Yeah.
But I want to know where faith plays a part in your life.
Yeah. Faith, well, tell me what you mean by faith.
Well, I mean, are you led by God? Is it a prayerfulness about you? There's got to be, you feel to me like such a spiritual man, because it takes a great spirituality to be so willing to forget himself and give. So I wonder how you were raised in terms of faith.
Sure, I was born a Hindu, but I think more than faith in a particular deity or God, I think I have faith in the goodness of all of us.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And that faith has lit me up.
Yes.
I believe that even if someone does an action that is harmful, that their possibility of their humanity, of all life, not even just human beings, the possibility is to shine a much more radiant and loving and cooperative light. And I think that is something that has always been with me and is continuing to grow stronger. And one of the ways in which it grows stronger is through meditation. So I meditate. I have a daily practice of meditation, and it's critical. I mean, without it, I think I would be completely lost. I would start thinking, wow, I'm doing this in the world. And as you meditate, you realize that I, like you say Nipun, right? But who is this Nipun? 99% empty space. And you say, this is the gap between me and you, and this is where you start.
Yeah.
But that's not so in our inner worlds, It's like your mind, like when you have a whole bunch of people that come together and they start connecting, their heartbeats start to synchronize even without any physical contact. So we have this possibility.
Like ours.
Like ours, perhaps, yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
And so when you do that, and when we know that inside there are no boundaries,
Right.
then everything changes. The way you operate, the way you think about life, everything starts to look very different. And service becomes a very natural, effortless part of who you are. It's not something you have to sacrifice to help some other person. It's just about you being natural. It's you being real and related and connected.
I venture to say that people watching this broadcast and people seeing this on the internet and listening to it on the radio, there are a lot of people who want to find out how to reach you.
Yeah.
How do they find you?
I think they should go to ServiceSpace.org. That's a great way. And I don't think it's about me. I think it's about each of us doing person-to-person generosity. That's what Gandhi would say, each one teach one.
Yes.
Let's not talk about centralizing all our heroes of our times. I think that time, that era is outdated now. Now we're going to we need many Gandhis, everyday Gandhis.
We do.
All over the world.
We do.
And if we all make that commitment to do that one smile card act, to do that one kind act, to reach out to somebody, I think the whole world is a better place. And for inspiration, I would say go to dailygood.org and karmatube.org. because we all need inspiration. You know, sometimes the best in us doesn't always shine, and when it doesn't, it's helpful to hear other people's stories, and that's what Daily Good and KarmaTube and so many other portals like that do.
Yes, and they are portals, and they are portals into goodness. I'm a big fan of KarmaTube.com. Before you go, I want to know where you go next, because we are a travel website, and I want to know where you're traveling to and where we can find you.
I am. Yesterday, I was giving a commencement address in Saratoga, California, and then I'm here in Idaho, and tomorrow I'm back in Berkeley, and then right after that we go to Carmel for a retreat that's going on, and so lots of busy week for me. Yeah.
Well, I still say, I know you don't like these kind of accolades, but you're one of my favorite people. You're one of my favorite people, and you lead by example, and you actually make me want to be a better person. And what greater gift could you give than that?
Beautiful. Yeah, makes my day to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time you're in Sun Valley.
Yes.
You come and visit us here at the Q Studios.
I would be happy to. I would be happy to.
You heard him. We'll be right back, so don't go away.
Yay!
Yay!